I'm one of those people that he pulled out of the woodwork in Kent as well. I met James at 11 and Vince too when I auditioned for a show that never got produced. But I'd like to read a poem called Yellow Barn, about the farm and the world that James and Pauline created there that was in many ways a parallel world to the one that James created here at Shaker Theater. But before I read this poem, I need to tell a brief story about Pauline's tomatoes. I must have been 16 or 17 years old, still at Roosevelt, when James called one night and told me that he had a large bundle of beautiful, newly cut wooden tomato steaks in the trunk of his car, and that Pauline was going crazy because he hadn't staked her plants yet, as he had promised, and they had now grown so large they were flopped over on the ground. This would have been the summer that Pauline was trying to finish her doctoral dissertation on Matthew Arnold, while also taking care of Matt and Leah, who would have been 6 or 7, and was also teaching freshman comp at Kent State, mowing, gardening, cooking, on and on. In my memory, it was early June, and school was still in session. And so James proposed a plan to pick me up the next morning at 6 in the morning, bring me out to the farm to stake Pauline's tomatoes with him, then drop me off at school before first period, and before he needed to drive up to Shaker. And he assured me it would be a rewarding experience. And it was. I remember the two of us in the cool early morning kneeling in Pauline's garden with the fog still low over the fields, as we tied large floppy stems with twine to these tall wooden stakes lined up in rows, the oily scent of tomato rubbing off on our hands. It was hard work, but something more, a shared experience that connected us to something larger than ourselves. And we did it dreaming of Pauline's tomato sauce and ratatouille. But there's an addendum to the story that Leah told me about just the other day, that later at the end of the summer, Pauline came to her graduate coordinator, Sandy Morovitz, at Kent State, who was her dissertation committee, and told him that she needed a 1-year extension on her dissertation. Pauline's never been good with deadlines. Because she needed to harvest her tomatoes that fall. And as James and Pauline love to tell this story, Sandy got livid at Pauline's insistence and finally literally crawled up on his desk, shaking his arm, saying, "You want all this and your tomatoes too?" Of course, in the end, Pauline got her extension and she harvested her tomatoes, which fed us and so many others that fall and winter at the farm. But that phrase stuck. All this and your tomatoes too became a mantra, a code phrase between James and Pauline for their shared vision and the fullness of their lives and the lives they touched, a fullness that we hold inside us now. So I want to read Yellow Barn for James and for the whole Thornton family, for all this that they've created together, and the tomatoes too. We do not say what will have to sink into the barn that looms large, painted yellow against the sky. The name Brigham, still legible on the old slate roof. Yet now the hayloft, silo, and milking stall stand empty, more like a stage set than a working barn. Today our ragtag crew labored on old front doors. We tore down rusted track, scaled ladders side by side, and heaved up in 12-foot sections. We drilled lag bolts deep into chestnut beams. By day's end, we hung the doors dead plumb and shimmed the bottom snug against the floor. Wheels packed in well-oiled ball bearings rolled inside the track while a bat crawled from a slit, unfolding its origami wings. Doors slid open, a heavy rumble above our heads like the sound of a train passing through fields at night. All day, James has worried about the oval oak table he found, buried in the barn beneath a tarp covered with bat's black dung. Where to position it for dinner, so we cannot see the silo's roof caved in. Rotted window frames tilted into parallelograms, warped siding bowed out, the whole barn sagging like a sunken ship that will take years to salvage. Outside, in wavering candlelight, we sit down to flowers, blue linen, and Pauline's garden. Pesto, summer squash, ratatouille, cucumbers and dill, chicken basted in basil and garlic. For years now, I've sat at these makeshift dinner tables with this family I've adopted as my own. Pauline cannot pass a dish without advice or warning. This corn should be the sweetest, or she muses why this year's tomatoes ripen small. We praise her food. Then Matthew brings coffee and his Thornton anthology from the house. Pauline unwraps raspberry cobbler clockwise. She sends steaming bowls, while Matthew rattles onion skin pages. He cups a candle to read from Whitman and smiles toward his father. The big doors of the country barn stand open and ready. The dried grass of the harvest time loads the slow-drawn wagon. I am there. I help. I came stretched atop of the load. James shrieks, amused at his son's selection. It's exactly this poem that got him started on this crazy barn business. Now that's ironic, Pauline says. This dreamy man in charge. Her finger plants a seed in his arm, and repeatedly all her worries come back, that the only bounty the barn will store is bats. We've all grown uncommonly quiet as this late summer night stalls. Our lantern faces glow around the table. Soon we'll leave each other and return to September's classrooms, hard floors like land after months at sea. Yet tonight, gathering dishes, beginning to drift toward the house, I can see the barn whole, large as a cathedral, the cows in their stalls, the hayloft filled with hay, almanacs, seed calendars, and milking charts hanging on the walls like scripture.